Today on the Extreme Channel, we are looking at Galactus, the Devourer of Worlds. And specifically, we are looking at this custom Galactus on throne. Welcome to the Extreme Channel. My name is Mr. X, and today we're going to take an in-depth look at this custom Galactus on throne statue. A few things before we get started. Custom means it's a private commission. I believe they only made 50 of these. The edition size is normally on the bottom, but this is one heavy son of a bitch. It was so heavy it actually came in 2 boxes, and I've had it for quite a while. I'm reviewing this because the Kukibala virus is going rampant right now, and not a lot of new statues are coming out. So we're looking at some other stuff within the Extreme collection that we've never reviewed. This is non-scaled. I believe the commissioner of this originally said it was quarter scale, but we know that's not true because when we talk about scale and we say quarter scale, that means it would be 4 times smaller than he would be in real life. Galactus is actually 30 feet tall, so a quarter scale statue of him sitting down would be like 6 feet tall. But this is non-scaled because, as you can see, there's a Silver Surfer in there, which we're going to talk about. Original price on him was fairly cheap, if I recall correctly. It was like right around $800 or $900, plus shipping was quite a bit for the 2 big boxes that it came in. And this particular custom group, I've actually reviewed quite a few things they have produced, and you'll see that at the end of the video. However, before we move on, we're doing a giveaway. We're giving away, hopefully, these 2 Venom statues, at least 1, if not for sure 2. So stay tuned till the end of the video to find out how that's going down. And I purchased him because I'm a big throne collector. I love throne pieces and I love cosmic pieces. Silver Surfer is actually my favorite character. If you don't know who that is the Herald of Galactus. Galactus is a Marvel character. I don't know when he was created, but he's been around for a long time. That goes and he feeds off worlds. That's how he gets energy. So Silver Surfer became his apprentice, kind of his herald, his protector, to prepare the way for him. He imbued Silver Surfer with powers. This is getting more about Silver Surfer because that's how much I dick ride Silver Surfer. Can you blame me? He's so hot. When you look at him, you just see yourself. Really happy to have him. There's definitely some concerns with this statue, like there is with a lot of pieces from this custom group, but one thing they do phenomenally is they knock the concept out of the park. I think this custom group comes out with some of the best concepts, and I think this is no exception. So when we look at this from a conceptual basis, Galactus is sitting on his futuristic spaceship type chair, which sometimes you see in the cartoons, which we're going to look at. And he's sitting there very proud, very somber, very kind of like what a god would look like, kind of bored in a way. And you see different parts of machinery and futuristic space age stuff within the chair. A lot of different colors we're going to talk about when we get to the paint and sculpt. And there's a couple switch out options that both involve Silver Surfer. Where he's kind of telling Silver Surfer what to do, as Silver Surfer is his herald. So I like it. I think it's a great representation of Galactus. I think it's another great throne piece. If you look at Galactus, some of the paint colors aren't 100% matching, especially when you look at some of the other Galactus pieces, or even like the original cartoon with Silver Surfer right here. But from a concept point, I think I'm okay with that. I love the concept. I think the concept's an X. Very happy to have a Galactus on throne, one of the most powerful beings. Next category we're going to grade is design, displayability. Do things make sense? Does everything go together well? I put them together probably 2 years ago, so I don't remember all the different parts. I do know the head, and I call these the ears on Galactus. These pieces right here, I do know that those come off. I do know there's a light up feature too, so here's his face without the light up feature on. And then you can remove his head and turn on the light up feature for his eyes. And then other display options you have. First is you have Surfer right here, creating a streak flying towards Galactus with his hand out, stop. Here's another picture of it right here, which I never displayed this part. I thought this would look dumb, and I just put it in for the review, and I actually like it more than the original one I had displayed, which is right here, where his hand is turned over and Silver Surfer is standing in his hand. And one of the reasons I really like this display option is because not recently, but probably last year, I got a statue of a quarter scale Silver Surfer coming out on Galactus's hand. At the end of the video, I'm going to show you pictures of different cosmic pieces in the collection. So you'll see that there, but you can check out the review right here. So a few different switch out options, which is nice. This takes up a lot of room, and normally I think that's a bash on statues because, as you know, with collecting, space is kind of our enemy. But this is Galactus. It's a 30-foot tall character. I think you don't want a tiny throne. So when I first got him, I was really disappointed with the size of the base, particularly the width and depth, which actually let's get right now. It's about 23 inches deep, and I think it's without Silver Surfer. It's about the same wide, and Silver Surfer adds about 5 or 6 inches. And the tallest point is right around 25 inches. So he commands a lot of presence. So I think that is a negative, but realistically, as I said, he's Galactus. He should take up a lot of presence. So I think I'm okay with that. That's not a bad thing. One design issue I have is his arm doesn't sit straight on the chair here. And I think the final thing with design is I wish he had a different expression. I'm not a huge fan of his expression. We'll see some more close-ups in paint and sculpt, and you saw it with the light up. Like I said, he looks bored, which I think sometimes goes with the theme of the statue, but sometimes not. So I think there was some opportunity there. So overall, design-wise, I think it's right in the middle. It's a V, very nice. It's not a bad design at all, but it's not great or anything exceptional. We're going to dive into paint and sculpt, and if you've seen me review pieces from this commission group in the past, it's typically almost always a W or an X, a 4 or 5 out of 5 when it comes to the concept. The design is usually pretty decent, and then the paint and sculpt fall a little bit, and I think that's no exception here. So let's start with this giant base, look at some different things going on, and at the end of the video, we'll have some video close-ups as well. First, all the different paint colors going on. You have a brighter gold, a darker gold, you have some purples, some silvers, some greens, some blacks, some streaks. I like the variety of colors. The paint application, though, isn't the best. It's not super clean. This could definitely use a repaint, and you'll find that's on Galactus as well, even though he's a little bit better than the throne. Regarding the sculpt of it, sometimes I look at it and I'm like, man, that looks really cheap. Looks like the printing wasn't done very well. And then other times it looks okay. The thing is, you don't know exactly what they were going for. So I think that gives them the liberty to make a few mistakes. Kind of different pieces on here, but it's not bad. It's just not high-end quality. And again, as I said, the price of this was pretty affordable. And for the size and what you get, it makes sense. But you see a lot of different things going on here in the actual throne, whether it's supposed circuitry or futuristic spaceship type stuff. I do like how on the back of it you have more of the gold, even though that's not a part you would ever see. Just trying to show you guys some shots here. Because it's varied throughout the entire base, but it's the same thing over and over. And I know that sounds like a oxymoron, like jumbo shrimp. Starting at Galactus's boots, here you see where some of the paint job fails. So it is the standard purple. It looks splotchy paint. There's a lot of white on it, almost like the paint was not sprayed on very well. Some of it is meant to be there due to wear, which I get. And the sculpt on his boots is very robotic. I enjoy the shiny aspect of Galactus, like on the Sideshow maquette, more than this. But it's not bad. Moving up his legs, you can see some musculature in beneath the skin, so kind of these skin-tight pants. They have this weird, it looks like a matte and gloss at the same time with the paint. Check out his dress in the middle. Some circuitry on it, classic Galactus. They added a different color of purple than the boots, along mixing with the blues. Here's his torso. I really dig his torso. I like what they did with the Galactus symbol on the front, and then the armor around it, and then kind of the shirt underneath it, the vertical lines. And it's even a different color purple. So I think a lot of the purples, they flow well together, but they mix up enough to give the statue contrast. And as you see some of these close-up details, like I said, the print's okay. There's some areas where it's not 100% clean, but the front of the torso here looks really good. It's probably my favorite part of Galactus. Check out his arms. So he has these pads on the outside. Again, a different blue-purple type color. And the paint looks, I don't know if it's meant to look with this much wear, but it has it on there. His gloves more have the robotic metallic feel. These huge cuffs that kind of come up, and we don't know if these are part of Galactus or clothes he's wearing. Not something you really talk about when you read the comics. Look at Silver Surfer in his hand. It's funny, this one doesn't look as good as the other one, which we'll look at both in a second. Just his pose, he doesn't look menacing or anything like that. But check out the streak. I like the streak. It could definitely use from a paint job, but I think the sculpt on it is good. The flow of it is good. And this Silver Surfer, while it's hard, this is probably a 1/20th or 1/30th scale. I like the pose. It reminds me of my favorite statue, which you'll see at the end. Let's look at Galactus's portrait. Start with his skin. The skin looks weird. It looks really, really weird. Maybe it's the expression. I think it's a mix between the sculpt and the paint. But I do like his helmet. I like it quite a bit. I like his eyes. He's kind of we never really find out what kind of creature he is, whether he is robotic, whether he's humanoid or organic. But a lot of the circuitry going on in here, it's that dull purple, so it's not bright like the Sideshow maquette. So on this particular piece, I think it's very average with both the paint and sculpt. I think there's some things that were done well, a lot of things that should have been a little better, but a ton of things that were just okay. So I think both the paint and sculpt get a V for a very nice, a 3 out of 5, which is a good score. It's just nothing exceptional. Now value on this guy, interestingly enough, the value on him, I've seen him sell for about $1,000, plus I'm sure shipping is anywhere from $200 to $500. But that's not bad for such a large throne piece. And like I said, I think the original value was right around $800. So I think the value is a 4 out of 5 on him. I think you're getting a lot for the statue. He's a commanding piece, especially since there's not a lot of Galactus options out there. You saw 3 of the main ones before, but they all sell for quite a bit as well. So overall on this guy, I like him. I wouldn't say I love him, but he's a throne, which I am a sucker for thrones. He's the enemy of my favorite character. So there's a little bit more nostalgic with him, which makes me want to raise the score, but I think realistically it's a V statue. It's a very nice statue. So that's what I think of this guy. I still think the original Sideshow Galactus maquette is king. I'm going to actually do a review on him because I never have done before, so you should see that in the upcoming weeks. But as promised, here are some of the other cosmic pieces in my collection. Here you have 2 Silver Surfers. Here you have the Galactus on throne next to Thanos on throne, along with my other throne pieces. And remember, you can always check all this stuff out in the room tour. Here's the Surfer I was referring to that is coming out of the portal on Galactus's hand. And since Surfer is my favorite character, I have many, many more of him actually coming in. But for now, if you want to get into that contest we talked about at the beginning, make sure you are first subscribed to this channel. So go ahead and hit that subscribe and bell notification. Second thing, go ahead and put a comment of which Galactus piece of these 3, or maybe one I didn't even talk about, that you like best. And be on the lookout for that 10,000 sub video that we will drop very soon. Until tomorrow, take care.